Good morning, Dobry Utro. Welcome to Teatralny Station, which is just around the corner from one of the most interesting sites, Red Square, with the Kremlin, and where we're going today, St Basils Cathedral. Well known throughout the world, everybody knows it. It's one of those sites everybody looks, oh yeah, Moscow, it's Russia, it's Russia. But this is St Basils, or as it's actually, the Cathedral of Vasily. Now we're going to take that long walk. We have three churches round about here before we get to the Kremlin area. We have a small one here as we go through the visit straight in, and then you'll see your first look. You'll see your first look of St Basils, which is the reason why we have come here today. Well, welcome. Do you see it? It's one of the most amazing sights in the world, and I'm very lucky that I get to see it a lot, living now in Moscow. After the area round about is known as the Kremlin, and the place where St Basils is actually situated is in Red Square. Those three areas are part of the UNESCO site that was dedicated in 1990 after the fall of the Second World War. Wow. I deny anybody not to be in awe of this whole area. It's so beautiful. There's so much history here. I spend a lot of time walking along here, and we get people from all over the world. Most people, a lot of them are Russians. Make sure they have to they see this area. So I wanted to make sure and bring you here and show you St Basils and teach you a little bit of the history of St Basils and why it's important, why Russia history is so important to the Russian people. We forget Russians have 1,000 years of history, thousands of years of history, and they've fought a lot of heavyweight wars, and they've always managed to come together as a people. And so, as I said, I wanted to bring you and see what I think is the most beautiful site, which is St Basils, and bring you a little bit of interest, facts about St Basils and the surrounding areas of the Kremlin, which is where Mr. Putin has his office. Across the back end here. Here we have another museum. Back here, and we have a few churches along the sides here. The building in front of us is Lenin's tomb. Lenin died in 1924, and he's considered to be the grandfather of Russia. And it says it's where it is. Lenin's tomb is directly below the offices of President Putin. These give you a chance to have a look round the colours, the splendour that is St Basils. This is a place that is always full of people, always. The history, a little bit of the history about St Basils. St Basils was originally a wooden church that was inside the complex of the Kremlin. When Ivan III had a victory against Kazan and Astrakhan, they built churches around the site of the original Trinity Church. This is why we have 8 churches originally in the complex of Kremlin. The 9th church was put together by Ivan IV, and when they had all the 9 churches around them, here we go. Now we can see a little bit closer to see how the design and the setup for St Basils is. We have 9 domes, all at the moment different colours. The different colours were made in 1653. They started using colours. Up till then they didn't have any colour in it. The design is supposed to be like a flame reaching to the sky, and this became a Russian Orthodox church, and with in its site now was between 1594 at this site. The idea of it was put outside the Kremlin and not inside the Kremlin, which upset a lot of the rich people, and they were told basically the reason it was done because this is a church for the normal people, for the common people. So that's the reason why it is done outside the Kremlin walls. There is 9 churches in this area inside the cathedral, all dedicated to a different saint, and after the death they decided they would put a 10th one, and that is for St Basils himself, which is where his grave is, and the 10th church was put on top of it. The amazing thing about this is during the 1918 revolution, all religion was banned. All. Wonderful cathedral was not seen, purely and utterly because it was not allowed to be part of the Orthodox Church. So what they did, they took it off. There we go. Let's try to see some of the domes while I go through it. Yes, what they did is they took it away. They closed all the Russian Orthodox Church, and what they decided that we're going to do, no religion through Soviet times. So Soviet times was banned religion. So the government, the state, took over that church, St Basils. St Basils itself, at the moment, at this day and age, still is owned by the state, by a Russian Federation, and not the church, which is very unusual for Orthodox sites. They made it part of St Basils, and then of course you've got on top of that you will have the area here, which is the Kremlin, and you have Red Square himself. It's all part of the same complex, and it all states that it is part of UNESCO National Heritage. To me, one of the most amazing things is after they had the revolution, and then it come up to time after Mr. Lenin went and Stalin was in charge, and they were looking at how to develop Moscow. And one of the ideas was that they were going to knock down St Basils Cathedral, and they were going to develop all their area round about. Now they had argument after argument after argument all the way through to 1939, whereas they decided in 1939 they would close the doors and leave it for a while. And I think the reason was to make sure that no one went and started to demolish this wonderful cathedral. I'm so glad that they didn't. What I've found, as I say, I go here quite a lot. It's amazing to look at it from different angles. I see the setups, I see the intricacies of how it has been developed. Legend says that after it was finished, Stalin said that they would blind the architect so they could never make another one that would look like it. Looking at it in reality, people have said afterwards that he was part of the development on various different projects after it, so I think it was more an urban legend than reality. But what a wonderful, wonderful sight. And I say I'll try to go right round the place so you can see it on all the different levels. I see there is tombs inside here, and they do still have churches in there. They do have services. Normally on a Sunday, every Sunday, since 1997. They've done a service in there, Russian Orthodox, and usually about Sunday 10 o'clock I think they have it. And it's nice to know that it's still used a little bit of a church, but it's also part of a museum, and it's got a lot of history, Russian history in this side. Obviously it's important that we look at the rest of the site, which is heading up towards the Kremlin itself, which is the site. Inside the site they have something like 6 or 7 churches inside the site. Another time I will try and take you around there and we'll do some look, and you can hear the bells that come through here often. And if you look at some of the sites round about, amazing, isn't it? So worthwhile coming here? I hope so. I hope everybody can see how beautiful this sort of place is, and how Russians take very, very seriously its history. a little piece of the Russian national anthem on the bells. So this is the back end of St Basils. So we can see the other domes, and as I say, each one is dedicated for one reason or other, and the one on stand as the side there is the one that is dedicated to St Basils. So intricate, so beautiful. I hope you enjoyed my small look around of Red Square and St Basils. What we will do, hopefully, in time, we'll do the trip, we'll do the tour through Kremlin, which I've done before with my son. Very interesting, and it takes you inside the armory, which is all lots and lots of history of Russia. And as I said, what's something that is so important is that we do not forget our history. I know as a Scotsman, I'm very interested in my Scottish history, and I think that it's very important that we do not lose our history. Round here, you have, going further along here, you have the Moscow River, and then if we go here, we have a lovely gardens over the back here. We have a viewing platform above the Moscow River, where you can see round some amazing buildings round about. But we will take this at another time. Last thing, we'll have a look on St Basils just before we finish. I'd say, I hope you enjoyed. I know I enjoy taking people around and showing people this beautiful building.